Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tori and today we are setting up my bullet journal for the month of December. I am going to be using some washi tape from the washi tape shop. I believe this is the Jolly Days washi tape. But I can't remember for the life of me specifically what it was called, but I will have the name pop up on screen here, but I'm pretty sure it's Jolly Days. I am going to be doing a little bit the most. I don't have like a lot planned, but I also have a lot planned. I don't really know if I'm even making sense. Probably not, but we shall see. I want to do one of those situations where you rip multiple holes in your paper, and I have never done that before. So it is going to be a new experience for me. And I guess what I mean by I don't have a lot planned is I don't have any of my supplies pre-chosen, colors, pens, anything like that. Like literally all I have over here is a Pigma Micron N01 and then my Tombow in 228, which I think should match. I don't know. I'm not sure if it'll match, but those are the only two things that I have pulled out and I don't even know if I will be using them. So this is going to be kind of a flying by the seat of my pants type situation. So cross your fingers and hope for the best with me because I am really just going to be flying by the seat of my pants over here. And I'm going to have a couple of extra spreads here in my December setup that I don't normally include. So this will be a fun, just a bullet journal setup adventure all around, I think. So we're going to go ahead and just jump right in. I will probably switch over to voiceover talking, but if I have anything urgent to say, I can always pop in and just talk to my camera as well if I need to. So yes, let's go ahead and just jump right in. The first thing I'm going to do is start ripping some holes in my paper. I thought that December would be a great month to try this type of style of decoration because I still have quite a few pages at the end of my journal, and my cover page alone is going to end up taking probably 3 or 4 pages here. So this will get a lot of those pages used up and also give me some like really fun decoration. So I'm going through and I'm making one hole really big, and then the page behind that, I'm going to make that hole a little bit smaller. And then I will be using one more page behind that as like my final like decoration, like my final layer. I'm going to end up just taping all of these pages together. I know when most people do this, they usually like leave them as is and then decorate each page individually. But what I was doing here was really just trying to get like a layered look. These are all of the different tapes that are included in that sticker set, so I wanted to lay those out so you could take a peek at those as well. And I also have an unboxing video on my channel for when I unboxed this order that I got from the washi tape shop. So I'm working first on my main background layer. I'm just going to be placing these stickers directly on that third page and kind of just press them down so they look like they are in the page, kind of like melded with the page. I will also pull out my X-Acto knife for this little tree here to cut off a little bit of that, so that it looks like it was part of that original image. For most of the rest of these images, I've pulled out just a piece of regular like 65-pound cardstock, and I'm going to adhere the washi tape to that cardstock and then fussy cut it out with my fine detail scissors. And the reason that I chose to do this is because I knew that they would be hanging over the edge of that kind of cut out or ripped out piece of paper. And I didn't want the washi tape to be see-through essentially. And I wanted it to be a little bit sturdier as well. So for most of these additional pieces, I will be just placing them on some regular paper and then fussy cutting them out. I do fuss with this for quite a while because there are, like I said, 3 different pages. and I want it to look really, really full. So it took a minute for me to get everything in a position that I really liked and then get things adhered down. Not to mention, fussy cutting is generally just a longer task anyways, but I was wanting this to be like a super fun themed layout, and to be completely honest with you, I freaking love the way that this cover page came out. I did run into the issue after I taped everything down where my pages look a little bit warped. I probably should have like placed the pages together in a different way, but honestly I probably won't notice come the time that I'm actually going in and actually filling out my planner. I had used one of the little people stickers, washi tape stickers, and I'm just cutting out a teeny tiny piece of my regular cardstock to place behind the head of one of those stickers. That way it doesn't stick down and look weird. And I'm really happy with how these came out, and I'm just going to continue layering and layering until I'm just completely satisfied with what I've got going on. So I've got this sped up to about 400 times what I actually was working. So it does look like it's coming together a lot quicker than it actually did. I spent the most amount of time for this setup on this cover page, but like I said, it was totally worth it. The only thing that I think that I would probably do a little bit differently is maybe layering, because I did tape these together, right? So maybe layering a piece of cardstock around the actual hole that I created. That way there would be like a little bit more like shadow going down to the next layer. So you can see what I mean by that by looking at that very first hole. You can kind of see there's a shadow underneath where that line is from where I ripped. And when I taped everything together, I kind of lost some of that shadowy look to show that there was multiple layers and dimension. You can still see it in person if you're like looking for it, but I think if I do this again, I would probably want to add just like a small layer of cardstock to make that shadow a little bit more prominent, so that you can actually like really easily be able to tell that there is different layers within my cover page. So I'm just adding a bunch of these little tiny ornaments to the very top of the page. I felt like because I was putting a lot of stuff at the bottom to kind of create my scene, the top felt a little bit bare, and I probably could have used a bunch of the star and moon stickers, but since I already put that in my very background layer, I didn't want to have multiple moons because I am working towards creating a scene, and realistically there's only going to be one moon in the sky. So I found all of these little ornament pieces and just kind of hung those from the top of my cover page, and now I'm just going through and just adding a ton of extra little pieces around, and then I'm going to start gluing these back to back. So this is what I mean here. I didn't want to have to flip through multiple pages. I wanted it to just be like one solid page but have that like layered, ripped look, and I think that I achieved that. And this is where I was like, oh, this is a little bit warped if I flip it over, but that's not going to bother me at all. So I have this blank page on the left-hand side, and I'm just going to use some of the larger washi tape stickers to kind of build on my scene on that side as well. I love the houses and barns that are included in this sticker set. Like, they're so pretty. And it was so easy to like make these scenes and like build these scenes on top of each other because everything just looks so good together. And this scene that I built on the left-hand side that I'm going to be using for my December title, I think that might be one of my favorite ones outside of the, layered one that I just spent all that time on. I love this one on the left-hand side as well. So we're finally done with that. And I'm going to go on and move towards my monthly calendars. So I'm titling out this page to say this month, and then I'm going to draw two separate calendars. One of these calendars will be my content calendar. That's going to be on the right-hand side of the page. I didn't actually label either of these calendars, which I didn't realize until I was actually going through and editing these videos. But in my mind, like, I know what they are. So this one on the right-hand side is my content calendar. And then the one on the left-hand side will be my just everyday regular life calendar. I just filled in all of the boxes, and then I'm going through with that Tombow green marker, and I'm just going to kind of do some grid lines on all of the days that don't actually happen in the month of December. I did miss a couple of them on the calendar on the right hand side, but I will go back in and add those when I'm adding my monthly days, my numbers for that month. I'm going to use these two really large sleighs with presents on them. They fit perfectly at the top of that calendar. And then there's a little arrow that says like Santa this way or something like that. And I just placed that right next to those sleighs because it did look like, you know, we were taking the presents over to Santa so he could get ready. That's how it kind of worked in my mind, and I did really like that. I also really love that this bow that's in this washi tape sticker set, it is such a cute bow, and I wanted to put it on December, but it was a little bit too big for my actual calendar, so I just stuck that at the top of the month spread. Moving right along, I am working now on my orders and my currently page. This is a page that I generally don't have too much on whenever I'm actually going in and setting up my monthly setups. So I am just going to leave a lot of these blank. I'm going to add my title and then draw a line underneath my title with that green Tombow. And then I'm going to create another scene down at the bottom of my orders page. My orders page does usually have a lot less information than my currently page. For my currently page, I keep track of books that I'm reading, shows that I'm watching, and games that I'm playing. And for the month of December, I usually read and watch a lot of like holiday movies. So I'm sure that one will be quite full. So I left my decoration mostly towards the order side of this spread. That way I am not kind of impeding on the space that I have to write my currentlies down, especially because in the month of December, I do work on December daily, and I will likely reference back to this currentlies page to see what movies I watched over the month and what books I read as well. I do also have my reading journal that I'll have book details in, but the only place that I keep movies and games is in my actual bullet journal on this currently page. So those two are finished, and we are now going to be working on my habits and my gifts to buy page. Now, if I had thought a little bit more deeply about how I was setting these up, I probably would have left my habits and my weekly recap on the same like spread together, and then I would have put my gifts to buy and gifts to make, because the next page is going to be gifts to make. I would have placed those on a spread together. Unfortunately, that's not what I did, and that's not how I sketched everything out. I couldn't tell you why, but that's just not what I did. So I'm going to have my habits and my gifts to buy right next to each other, and I'll be tracking the same 6 habits that I've been tracking for the last couple of months. So taking my long-acting insulin, reading daily, going into my bullet journal, not spending any money, and then if I posted a YouTube video that day, I've been tracking that one for about the last since October, really, because I do a lot more videos October, November, and December. So I like to kind of highlight this little circle over what days that I actually have a video posting, or which days I successfully posted a video. I did not take into consideration when I was putting my calendar pieces down, my calendar stamp, that December has 6 weeks in it because of where the first and last days of the month fall. So I had an extra space at the top of my habits area that I just placed a ton of those teeny tiny stickers in, and to kind of just fill up that space, because I did think it looked a little bit weird having that huge gap up there. And then on my gifts to buy spread, I'm just creating a large chart that says who a gift is for, what the gift is, if I purchased it, and if I received it. And then there's a little checkbox at the end that I will check off once it has been officially wrapped. The next 2 pages here are going to be my gifts to make and my weekly recap. Now, like I said, if I had thought about this a little bit more ahead of time, I would have kind of reworked the way I had these layouts and put the gifts up all on one spread. And then just side note, my husband got home from work and I was really proud of everything that I had done so far. So I was just flipping through and showing him. But I do like that I still left my weekly recap as the very last page in here before we go into my daily planning. So yeah. I am going to do another large chart on my gifts to make where I will have who the gift is for, what I need to make, if I have all of the supplies, and if the gift has been completed. And then for my weekly recap, I've only done this once before. I did it in my October setup, I believe. And I really liked it, and I actually completed it for my October setup. So I wanted to try doing this again for December, especially since December is a really busy month. And I do want to keep track of some of these like happy, joyful, memorable moments. So I'm going to do the same thing and fill this in the same way that I did for October, where I will write just some highlights from my week every week for the month of December. And I'm just going back and referencing to see kind of how big I made that spread and all that good stuff. I had to make my rows a little bit smaller just because there are 6 weeks in December, and I only had 5 weeks that I was doing in October. So I'm just working on that large chart there for the gifts to make. I love hand making gifts, but I do have to like write them down so I can make sure that I'm not overwhelming myself with handmade gifts. And then I'm going to go in and just add my week numbers for the weekly recap. I'll then pull out some of those washi tape stickers again and use up a bunch more of those teeny tiny ones to just place on the very edge, the very right hand edge of each little weekly recap box. I really like doing this because it uses up a lot of these really, really tiny washi tape stickers, which are great, but sometimes I can find that they're a little bit difficult for me to use, but using them to fill in just small spaces like this is super helpful in getting those used up. I'm then just going to grab my Tombow 990 brush pen, and I'm going to highlight every other box of my weekly recap in that Tombow color, the 990, and then the N89. And then I will go back and just highlight the tops of each of my gifts charts, and that's it. Here is the final flip through of my December setup, a super close up here of all of the work that I put into this cover page, and I am obsessed with it. I would love to know your thoughts on this down in the comments below, and if this is something that you have tried in your journals, please let me know. We're just gonna flip through these pages, these finished pages. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and that's gonna be all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!